Hello, I'm Mary Gallagher. I'm a Divine Plan healer. I'm a teacher of Divine Plan healing, and I'm also a host of the Mary Magdalene Light Circle. And I just wanted to explain a few things about what this system is as a healing system, because people are curious and they don't know what a spiritual healing light is, and they might want to know, well, what happens if you actually come from a healing or come for a healing. So when we're talking about spiritual light, this light is very pure. It comes from source. And if there were exact words to explain what light is, then it probably would be a lot easier. But the light, you could call it God consciousness, you could call it creative source, you could call it an aspect of the Christ light. And to work with it, um, this particular light is called the Emerald Heart Light. It came in 15 years ago. And to work with this light, you need to be connected or attuned to it. And that's what happened during my training. Once you're connected to this light, the light can flow through me as like a channel. So the light is doing the healing, but it's very, very powerful. It couldn't just come in directly to the person. It needs to come in through sort of a filter, and it comes in through the heart, through your heart center. And in the heart center, there's no division, there's no judgment, there's only this sense of unity. And it flows to the person, and the light's doing the healing. So, this is one of the differences, that spiritual light is doing the healing, it's not energy healing. An energy healer might sense energy, clear energy, and know what it was and be very skilled at that. But there's only certain things that they could see. There's certain things they would see and certain things they might miss or not pick up on. Whereas with the light is coming from source, it's fifth dimensional, and it has its own form of consciousness of knowing what the person needs. So if you can imagine, if you were in a maze, somebody was in a maze and they just couldn't find their way out. If you were looking at that from inside the maze, well, there's only certain pathways you can see. But if you were hovering over that maze like a drone, looking down on the entire thing, you could see exactly where the person was stuck and what pathways were open to them at that time and what needed to be done. So the spiritual light is a bit like that. It has the ability to see, to know on a different level. And that's one of the differences. So it's called Divine Plan Healing. Now, this is not in a religious context at all. And Divine Plan Healing was given as a system. Someone who was working with the Emerald Heart Light started to receive information in 2013. And they weren't quite sure what it was, first of all, but then they worked with it and they realized that this is a healing system. It's a complete healing system. So it is very much integrated. And if you were to come to me for a healing, what would happen? So on the surface, it looks very much like any other therapy, I suppose. You would make the arrangements, I give you the information about it. You set a healing target. Now, the target's very important because that's what you're working on. The light's capable of clearing an awful lot, but you need to just zone in on one particular target, because as physical beings, we couldn't cope with taking on a lot of clearing. And then you just lie down on a therapy bed and relax. It's not a hands-on therapy. I don't need to touch you. And indeed, in these times, where I'm working remotely anyway. So I would usually stand about 1 to 2 meters away from the person, work around them, and at different times I'd ask them to repeat certain mantras. And at the end, then you have an option to take the Divine Love Essence. Now, the essence is a bit like a Bach flower remedy. It has got the same spiritual light vibration within it, the same healing vibration. So the idea is you come for a 1 hour healing approximately, which starts the process, but then you take the essence, drops in water for another 4 to 6 weeks. And what happens is that that healing light continues to clear the energies and the issues that are coming up. So you actually go into like a 6 week process to continually help you and to clear whatever issues there are for you. And the essence is a key part of all of the healing. We also ask you after 4 weeks to have a follow-up with me on Zoom. And that would be 15, 20 minutes just to chat, because you've gone away to keep a record of how you felt, of memories, of thoughts, of whatever came up for you, things that have been triggered. And quite often the person can't make sense of it or doesn't see the connection. But for me, it's guidance comes through. It's not counseling, but guidance comes through to help the person to see that this is actually linked to their target, that there's patterns in there that they weren't aware of, and that these patterns are being dissolved. Another key factor is that it's transformation. It's for the evolution of mankind. So when somebody has an experience, whether it's good or bad or severe, we're supposed to learn. We're supposed to grow on a soul level. This is the whole point, that we evolve ourselves into what the divine plan is for our life. And there's things we should know. So if you have somebody who comes and clears the energy, or they say, well, I can cure that issue for you, maybe they can, and that's nice. But sometimes there can be a gap. And if, when you have a healing experience, if you don't understand what happened, if you didn't learn or gain wisdom and transform that so you're at peace with it, if it happened again, would you still be able to cope with it? Would it be triggered again? Have you moved on from it, that it's just something you recognize was in your system, but it's no longer affecting you? So it's very much about transforming that you evolve yourself and that you grow on so many levels. And it's also helping you to cope, because once something's gone out of your system, it's just gone and you don't remember it anymore. So for me, what did it do for me, or what can it do for people? For me, about 2 years ago, I left the job that I was in. Now, I was teaching for a long time, and I was at the end of that, basically. I suppose I wanted to leave, but it did trigger poverty consciousness, because you're thinking to yourself, how am I going to survive? Where's the income going to come from? But because I was working with Divine Plan Healing, that just went. And it gave me the ability and the power just to leave my job and to move myself on, because there's other things I wanted to do, and this is one of them. And obviously, I was being drawn towards it all the time. So it dissolves fear. That's one of the main things that can happen. And that's very, very empowering for anybody, no matter when it happens, to think if you can get past your fear, there's so many things that you can do that you never thought you would do. Another aspect is, one of the things I didn't like about my last job was that I was not keen on technology at all. And, you know, it was something I wasn't familiar with or comfortable with. But look at me now, 2 years later, I'm here on Zoom giving talks, training on Zoom, hosting events. It's ridiculous. People who know me would say, God, yeah, is that the same person? But that's because the fear is gone. I've overcome it. It's not I don't have the anxiety, but I can overcome it. I can put it to one side. And it is one of the ways that it helps people just to move on step by step. So some of the other ways that Divine Plan Healing can help, it can help with any issue on a spiritual level. There's a spiritual aspect to everything that happens. Anxiety, fear. If you have anxiety, it's coming from some source. It's helping you to recognize where it's coming from and the pattern that's linked to it. If you lack confidence and motivation, something stagnant in your life, again, there's a pattern there. If there's change or trauma in your life of any sort, to help you with moving past that, to help you to actually move into your own life purpose. There's all these things that people say, oh, I'd love to do this, I'd love to do that. And then straight away they drop, because you can see them thinking, but I can't because I have a job, because I have commitments, I can't. And we stop ourselves. So helping to see that our life purpose is possible, that there's ways we can fulfill what we want to fulfill. If you are suffering from any illness, if there are difficult emotions, issues to do with sexuality, then it again helps with that spiritual dimension of searching. And spiritual development is very, very important, especially now. We're gone into a period of crisis on the entire planet, basically, because of the virus situation. All the things we took for granted, our lifestyle is gone. All of the expectations that people had seemed to be disappearing. There's now a realization this isn't going to go away as quickly as we thought. There's a lot of fear, there's upset, there's anger, there's protest, there's people in crisis searching, and they're searching for meaning. Why? What's happening? What's going on? When is it going to change? It's a spiritual dimension. And this is very much part of divine plan healing. And the divine plan is helping us to move into our purpose, what we can do in life. So it is very much integrated to help the person to heal, to look at the spiritual meaning in their life. And if you've got meaning and you've got a way to find step-by-step purpose, you feel better. It works with the universal laws, which are very different. They're supportive. And in human life, we tend to plan everything. Well, I'm going to do this next week and I'll do this, blah, blah, blah. Then the universe comes in and says, no, you're not. No, that's not going to happen. When you're ready, something will come to you and then you'll be able to progress. But you have to let go of the old patterns and beliefs to help you to move forward in a different way. So I also want to show you an image, which is our pink heart image. This is linked to divine plan healing. It's very, very important. This image was given as it is here. It came in, first of all, as the emerald heart, green heart image. And when it was designed then, it actually changed itself. The form of it kept changing and changing into what you see now. So this is something that happened because it has its own life. It started to develop life. It's sending out a healing vibration. And it does affect people, they respond to it, and it's possible to meditate with this. And it's very much showing you the heart image, and I suppose, the layers and depth that's in it. So for some people, there's a doubt and a fear in their life. They feel that they're not worthy, that they could never get past a certain situation, that they'd never be able to do certain things. I'm proof of that. I can tell you that's not true. And it can bring about healing that people didn't think was possible. You don't just gain wisdom overnight, it's a step-by-step process. But once you step into that and you begin to recognize what it is, then it gives you a great sense of confidence and support. So I am a therapist working with Divine Plan Healing. I'm also teaching Divine Plan Healing. To learn, there's level 1 and then there's the advanced level. The actual training itself takes maybe 1 day, and the actual method is very easy. There's no hands-on movements to try and remember. So within 1 day, you get the training content, but that's not the main part. You then go into a 3-month growth period where you learn what it's like to work with spiritual light, and that's an experience. I could tell you forever, but until you experience it, then you begin to sense the boundaries, what it's capable of. And you're connected to the light. At first, you're not very sure of it. You're not able for much of it to channel through you, but gradually you learn and you grow. So the training then, it certainly helps you to step onto your path. I'm also hosting the Mary Magdalene Light Circle. Within Divine Plan Healing, the Emerald Heart light is the healing light, but the system was sent or given through Mary Magdalene. Again, it's not a religious context, but her love and wisdom and vibration has sent this to support us at this time because we need it, or we know we do. And Mary Magdalene was given a very bad press. She was called a prostitute. But in fact, she became a very evolved spiritual person herself in her own right. She traveled with Jesus, she heard his teaching, she evolved herself. And that love and wisdom is the support all around Divine Plan Healing. So when I'm working with it, I can feel the light flowing, the healing light, but I can feel this like cushion of support around it. And it's around me, but it's around the client, the person who's going through the healing process as well. And in the Mary Magdalene Light Circle, it's once a month. It's on Zoom at the moment because we can't meet in person. And it's 2 hours in this light. It's a spiritual healing light, again, very gentle, feminine, nurturing healing light. So at the moment, because of the situation, we can't do healings in person. To give a distant healing is the exact same effect because light is pure. It travels at the speed of light. There's no, there's no, what do we say? It's not diluted. It just works just as effectively. So a distant healing is where you receive the healing in your own home. I'm not present with you. It's also possible to have an event healing. So if you have some event that you would like support, the light sent into it, then that can be done. Again, it could be anything. It could be an interview, it could be a wedding, a funeral, it could be someone who's going through surgery, it could be a meeting, any situation that you find challenging. It could be a simple thing that you'd like to stand up and speak in public. It can be anything to support the event. And it's also possible to have group healings. So if a group of people want to gather, or even just, within different homes, and healing can be sent to them. And the healing goes to the group, but individually it's received for their highest good. So overall, it is different because it's a spiritual healing light that is used, the Emerald Heart light. You have the love and wisdom of Mary Magdalene with all her qualities of strength to empower people, in particular for women, but to empower people. It is to help people to transform and evolve their life and to move themselves on into the divine plan is about harmony. It's about everything working together for the benefit of everybody. And it's a nice cushion of support. And it gives you a great basis to help you to move forward in your life. Because once you've learned one way of dealing with issues and problems and you see, gosh, that works, it's something you can continue with. So I hope that just gives you some idea of what I'm working with and of what it can offer you. Thank you very much.